And basketball as Ted Robinson joins us. You can follow him on Twitter at Ted J. Robinson. He'll be doing the Washington State-Stanford game tonight with Bill Walton. He joins us now on the Right to It guest line. Ted, I got to ask you, do you have to prepare any different when you're calling a game with Bill Walton? Is there anything you got to do differently?
Oh, yeah. No, hey, guys, nice to be with you. Yes, absolutely, because Bill is unique, and he has his very clear way of preparing. And Bill does a lot of prep work that would normally be the play-by-play person's responsibility, background of players, bios, stories, history, etc. Bill thrives on that. So when I'm working with Bill, I have to pivot, and I'll actually talk to more coaches, maybe a little bit more about strategy or game plan, basketball stuff. Not, believe me, I'm not trying to get out of my lane and be a QB Brown type of analyst here, I know. But I'm just saying it's dramatically different than if I'm working with a former coach like Mike Montgomery or someone like Don McClain, who's brilliant in his own way, and Don just looks at the game like a player. And Bill just has Bill's way of doing it. And believe me, I love it. It's fine. I just have to make sure I'm the one that adapts.
That's interesting. My experience, my partner before Minuch in radio, at one point, he's a color analyst in the marketplace, and he had told me one time, just let me go. Just let me do my thing. Do you get to the point where when Bill starts going, you got to just let him go because that what makes him so unique?
Absolutely. There's no question. And the only caveat to that, and I've sort of talked to Bill about it, and believe me, Bill is Bill is so crazy smart, it's unbelievable. So he knows, is that when the game is good, and particularly, for example, we get to the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas every year, we get good games. Hey, when the game is good and it's meaningful, we're all about the game. No more Grand Canyon, Cactus, high in the Rockies, Willamette Valley stuff. And Bill knows. So that's my only responsibility, is that when the game gets good, the game matters, keep the car driving straight down the road. Don't veer on the shoulder.
Ted Robinson, Pac-12 Network's play-by-play voice. He'll be doing the Wazoo-Stanford game tonight. Ted, a few changes last time we talked to you. Washington's got a new head coach. U of A's got a brand-new head coach. Players who are playing for those teams have the option to go into the portal for another 30 days. I'm just curious, are you you got a roster run, or are you just going to wait until the dust settles before you look at who's on first and what's on second? I don't know, and I don't care who's on third.
Abbott and Costello, you are so spot on with that. But I'll be honest with you, I'm probably 3 years into that mindset now.
Yeah.
And I told, for example, the Pac-12 communications people to stop even asking me to do preseason polling a couple of years ago. I said, they're a joke. Nobody knows who's on these teams anymore. Yeah. I know that. And therefore, I need to see them play some games before you can even make judgments. So that's absolutely the case. Look, the coaching change stuff is part of what is troubling to a lot of people about where the college game is going. The fact that, Caleb DeBoer was going to be offered, somewhere in the $9 to $10 million a year range to stay at Washington, where he's beloved, where he has a lot of rope, and he's gone on. He's chosen to I'm sure, get a very, very lucrative deal for himself at Alabama. It's a great place. At some point, I think back to what a great late Hall of Fame baseball player, one of the best people I've ever met in sports. I was around Kirby Puckett, and Kirby Puckett 30 years ago was offered more money to sign with the Boston Red Sox as a free agent. He chose to stay with Minnesota for, at the time, $30 million total, which now is an annual salary, but back then it was total. And he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, Teddy, if $30 million ain't enough for me, that's my problem. It's enough." And I wish a coach would say that at some point. I wish Caleb DeBoer had been willing to say $9 million a year to stay at Washington is enough. And I fear for him that those of age will know the name I'm going to mention, Gary Cunningham.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you young guys don't know, but the people just look up Google Gary Cunningham. That's, to me, what Caleb DeBoer is right now. And that is a thankless job, because if he goes 9-3 next year, there will be calls to fire him, and that's just the reality. And I'm sad for that.
And the other thing too is that Brett Brennan, who is familiar with the Pac-12 or was the Pac-12, coming from San Jose State, I think for a lot of U of A fans, he had the opportunities between he and Jedd Fisch 3 years ago get that job. But what he's done at San Jose State, Ted, the last 5 years he's been there has been like Tedford did at Fresno, somewhat of a miracle. Him coming into U of A, I don't think they'll miss a beat unless they miss some key players.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that's the positive out of all this. Kudos to Dave Hickey. He hit a home run. And it's personal. I know Brent a little bit. He's been around the Bay Area, and I've gotten to know him. He's terrific. And I know he had a swing at U of A last time. He had a swing at a couple of other places, including Stanford. Stanford interviewed him last year for their job. This was a great, great move. Just as Jedd was. Jedd was terrific for Arizona. And that's why I'm saying for Dave, it's wonderful that he's done this twice in a row. As we all know, everybody knows, Jared Haas was telling me this here the other day at Stanford, the Stanford basketball coach. He says when he got the job here, the first thing he had to do was re-recruit the guys on the team. And Brent's going to go through the same thing. Jedd's going to go through the same thing at Washington. That's the deal now in this sport is you're not recruiting outside. You're re-recruiting your own team every year. And if Brent can keep T-Mac and Fafita and Jacob, Manu, etc., if he can keep them in place, the nucleus is there, which is to Jedd's credit. The nucleus is there for Arizona to be a title contender in their new league.
All right, I want to go quickly to basketball before we run out of time, but my first question to you is quickly back to Bill Walton. When you work with him, is he still going to scream the Conference of Champions, or has that left his vocabulary?
No. We've worked probably half a dozen games already. No, it's still there because that's what this is. Until it is no more, it is the Conference of Champions. And guess what? 2 schools still own the conference. And they own all the rights, and they're going to own that name if they so choose to keep it.
All right, then to my basketball question. How, stunned are you that the so-called powers in basketball are struggling? USC, UCLA, Oregon is not that dominating this year either, and Arizona, even though they had a win last night, they have struggled in recent games as well. What's going on in this conference?
We're it's the opposite of where we were in football. We're ringing out this conference's lifespan with an extraordinary football season. And I think women's basketball will be outstanding again. Men's basketball's down a little. There's no question. And we at least I sensed it was coming. There's the micro picture of transfers, guys leaving early, etc. Some coaching changes, all those things we could talk about. And then there's the bigger picture to me is that the schools, I think too many schools in this conference have been caught up in the football mania and lost sight of continuing to invest in men's basketball. And it's not just money investment, it's attitudinal investment, if I can use that phrase. We don't have the time to get depth in it, but I think it's been an issue that's building the last couple of years. We're seeing it here, and you're going to live it next year. Arizona will be fine with Tommy Lloyd. They'll be fine. Arizona State's going to have a jolt. When they go into the 12, the level of basketball top to bottom in that conference, holy cow.
Yep.
So ASU's going to have a massive jolt to say, whoa, we're going to have to up our game. This isn't the pack anymore. And Colorado's going to face the same problem. And the Utes are going to face the same problem. I'm saying to this year, I don't think anybody could have foreseen UCLA falling the way they have. They have shown a few signs of life here in the last week. USC's disheveled, and I don't know if they're going to regroup. The team that I'm going to see tonight, guys, I'm telling you, don't sleep on Stanford. They're a better team. Their guard play is much better than last year. They're not Arizona. I'm not trying to portray them like that. They're probably not even as good as Oregon. But Stanford right now has a heck of a chance to finish this conference somewhere in the 3 to 5.
Wow. Finishing up with Ted Robinson, Pac-12 Network. You'll be calling that Stanford-Washington State game tonight. If you had to make a pick today of these 2 players to get the Pac-12 Conference Basketball Player of the Year, would it be Love at Arizona or Simpson at Colorado?
Ooh, wow. That's a good call. I've seen Arizona play. I have not yet seen Colorado play. Simpson's good. Simpson's really good. I would, my gut initial reflex was to give Simpson a slight edge, and that's probably because I've seen him before, where Love this year is new to me. I will say this about Love. The one game I saw him play live, and I've watched, like everybody, half a dozen other U of A games on TV. He plays fearlessly, and I love that about him. He plays fearless basketball, and that's the kind of guy you want with the ball in your hand at the end of the game.
Ted, as always, thanks, especially on a game day. We're definitely going to be watching tonight. Bill helps that a little bit. We love watching you too, Ted, but, a little cherry on the top with Bill Walton.
I'm a favorite, right? I'm going to walk down and see Bill here in 60 seconds, and I'm going to tell him that you guys have asked for 50 Conference of Champions references.
Thanks, Ted. It's Ted Robinson joining us again. He's got the Washington State-Stanford game tonight. Appreciate him taking some time. As he's brought to you today by All City Towing. If you're looking for a career this year that pays great with great benefits, All City Towing continues to look for new people to join their team. Just head to their website, allcitytowing.com, and then in the search button, type careers. That's All City Towing, statewide service, and they answer your call 24/7, allcitytowing.com. Well, we need a contestant to face one of the young ladies here at the Twin Peaks at Deer Valley. 602-260-9191, 602-260-9191.